Your eyes have physically moved across this sentence at least 4 times now. You can see the words, you could probably even read them out loud correctly if someone asked you to. And you have absolutely no idea what any of it actually said because somewhere between your eyes and your actual understanding, your mind quietly checked out and wandered off to think about something else entirely, leaving your eyes to keep scanning the page on their own, like a car left running in a driveway with nobody actually behind the wheel. Carl Jung had a genuine explanation for why this specific, slightly eerie experience happens and why it is not actually about the book at all. Jung believed that reading comprehension requires two genuinely separate things to be happening at once: the mechanical, physical act of the eyes moving across text and the deeper, actual engagement of conscious attention with the meaning behind those words. Under ordinary conditions, these two things move together seamlessly, but they are not actually the same process, and they can genuinely split apart the moment your conscious attention gets pulled towards something more emotionally urgent: an unresolved worry, an unfinished conversation, some background concern quietly running underneath the surface. The eyes on their own are perfectly capable of continuing to physically scan the page. Understanding requires your actual attention, and attention has simply gone somewhere else. This explains why this happens specifically during moments of unresolved stress or distraction. Since the eyes can operate almost entirely on autopilot, but genuine comprehension cannot function without your actual present attention, and once that attention has been pulled elsewhere by something feeling more urgent, the reading becomes a purely physical, meaningless motion, repeated as many times as you like, without ever actually connecting to real understanding until your leg returns to the page. If you recognize this pattern in your own life, hear this clearly. This is not evidence that you are becoming a worse reader or that your concentration has somehow permanently declined. It is a completely ordinary and completely universal split between two processes that usually run together but do not have to, and it happens most reliably exactly when something else in your life is genuinely and legitimately demanding your actual attention. Here is what actually helps. Rather than continuing to reread the same sentence increasingly anxiously, hoping the sixth attempt will somehow work better than the previous 5, it helps to pause entirely and name briefly what has actually pulled your attention away, even in one short sentence, to yourself. This small acknowledgement often does more to clear the distraction than several more attempts at rereading ever will, since it addresses the actual problem, your attention being elsewhere rather than continuing to attack the symptom, the words not sticking. There is a second thing worth doing if the distraction is persistent and will not fully clear. It helps to simply set the reading aside for a short period rather than forcing continued attempts that are unlikely to work while your attention remains genuinely elsewhere. Returning to it once whatever was actually demanding your attention has been at least partially addressed or acknowledged. Think honestly about the last time you noticed yourself rereading the same sentence repeatedly without absorbing it, and consider what was actually happening in your mind during those exact moments, rather than assuming the problem was really about the reading itself. Right below the single word for what tends to pull your attention away most reliably during these moments, naming it and giving it brief, honest acknowledgement rather than continuing to reread anxiously is the real and practical way your attention actually returns to the page. Because reading the same sentence 5 times without absorbing it was never, according to Carl Jung's understanding, evidence of declining concentration or a failing mind. It was simply your eyes running on autopilot while your actual attention, quite reasonably, had gone somewhere else that felt more urgent in that moment.